Cece, Rios, and the Desert of Souls by Kaela, Rivera. This is an Own Voices fantasy mythology story. Cece Rios lives in the village of Tierra del Sol in the desert. During the Criatura months, dangerous spirits come out and can harm living humans. It's during this time that Cece's sister is taken by El Sobreron, a powerful and evil criatura. Cece doesn't believe that all of the criaturas are bad, but unfortunately, the rest of her village does. Cece decides she will have to become a bruja, humans who capture and can control criaturas, in order to save her sister. She keeps her plans secret from her family and the rest of her village, and, with the help of the legendary Coyote, she attempts to save her sister. The Creakers by Tom Fletcher. This book has adventure, it's a little scary, and has a lot of humor. What would you do if you woke up to a world with no grown-ups? When all the parents in the world disappear, most kids think this is amazing. They can finally run wild and eat junk for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which they do. But one girl, Lucy Dunstan, wants to get her mom back, especially because her dad disappeared not all that long ago. Lucy wants the truth, and she's convinced that the creaking sounds that had come from under her bed can lead her to it. That's when Lucy meets the Creakers, a bunch of stinky, smelly, mischief-making creatures who live under children's beds. This troublesome bunch has taken all the grown-ups to an upside-down world called the Wallab. Lucy and new friends Norman and Ella come up with a plan to rescue the grown-ups. The author is actually another character in this book, warning readers about scary things going on and making sure you're okay. And the illustrations really add to this story. Are you ready for the Creakers? Try it out and see.
Hello everyone, my name is Miss Sarah, and I'm going to talk to you guys about two of my favorite recommendations for spooky reads for 5th and 6th graders. So the first one we're going to talk about is not so spooky, but just full of magic and wonder, and that title is Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. Eva Evergreen is determined to reach the rank of Novice Witch before her 13th birthday, because if she doesn't, then she loses her magic forever, because any witch who fails to reach Novice rank by age of 13 will have their magic forcibly stripped away. Yikes! But the only way to become a Novice Witch is to pass a test. And this test does sound pretty simple. There's only 3 requirements. 1, you have to help your town and do good all around. 2, live there for 1 moon, don't leave too soon. 3, fly home by broomstick, the easiest of tricks. Well, this sounds pretty easy, but poor Eva, she only has a pinch of magic. If she tries to summon flowers, well, she just gets heads of cabbage. If she tries to call down the rain, she gets a sunburn. And whenever she uses too much magic, she falls asleep. But still, Eva loves magic, and she's determined to pass her novice exam and make her mark in the world of magic. So, when Eva is assigned to the coastal town of Currie, the residents, well, they're not exactly that pleased. They expected a powerful witch, not a semi-magical girl. But Eva needs this town's mayor to sign off on her test and agree that she was able to help them, or she'll never pass her test. So she comes up with a plan to set up a magical repair shop to aid the people of Auturi and prove that she is worthy. But will Eva's bit of magic be enough when the biggest magical storm in history threatens the town she's come to love? Well, this enchanting fantasy is a wonderful, heartwarming adventure full of friendship, community, and courage, and it reminds me a lot of the movie Kiki's Delivery Service. So if you're a fan of that movie as well, this might be a good book for you.
What if you had to leave your home suddenly in the middle of the night and hide from danger? What if you had to move in with distant relatives that were not very nice to you? What if you had to leave school and get a hard job to help earn money to get a home of your own? What if you can now see and talk to ghosts? All that happened to Ophie. Ophie was jolted awake by her father one night. He told her to get her mama and run. Ophie did as she was told, not understanding why. Soon, Ophie realized she was awakened by her father's ghost. This was the first time Ophie had ever seen a ghost and didn't understand how. She tried talking to her mama about it, but Mama wanted no part of ghost stories. Ophie was scared. She didn't know what to do. That same night, Ophie's whole life changed in an instant. She and her mama had to leave Georgia and move in with relatives in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Except for Aunt Rose, the family was cruel to her and her mama. Not only is Aunt Rose kind, she is able to help Ophie with the ghosts. Will Ophie listen to Aunt Rose's advice? When arriving in Pittsburgh, Ophie has to leave school and get a job. By working, her and her mama can get a home of their own a whole lot sooner. Ophie begins working at an old manor, taking care of Mrs. Carruthers. The manor is haunted with dangerous secrets and ghosts who can communicate with Ophie. Will Ophie be safe? Read Ophie's Ghosts by Justina Ireland. It's a ghostly story filled with mystery and spirits.
A Properly Unhaunted Place by William Alexander. The title would lead you to believe it's not too scary of a book, but it has a good amount of spookiness in it. In this fantasy novel, it is normal to have ghosts in your town or city, especially in libraries. That is why library appeasement specialists are needed. They soothe the spirits so that they can be among the living without causing too much trouble. Rosa Diaz and her mother, a very well-respected library appeasement specialist, have just moved to Ingot, the only unhaunted town in the world. Rosa, who has well-developed appeasement skills as well, is unhappy about her new home in the library basement and can't understand why her mom would choose to move there. Ingot's biggest attraction is its Summer Renaissance Festival. No ghosts or poltergeists to speak of. Rosa meets Jasper Chevalier and his dad, dressed in full night costume on their way to the festival, and is invited along. While Rosa is touring the festival with Jasper, Ingot has its first haunting to Rosa's delight. Rosa likes to be useful. She enlists Jasper to help her prepare for the haunt's inevitable return. Upon its comeback, the haunt steals something from Rosa's mother, and Rosa must get it back. In doing so, she learns why Ingot has been unhaunted for all these years, and it's not because the ghosts don't exist. Rosa and Jasper must work together to save Ingot from its unhaunted past. Author William Alexander has created a new magical reality with quirky and appealing characters and a fun, quick read.
The next book I want to tell you guys about is definitely a little bit more spooky, and this one is actually based off of a real-life ghost story based in Chicago. So if you like a good ghost story with a little bit of a true element to it, this one might be for you. This one is called Scritch, Scratch, and it's written by Lindsay Currie, and we follow the story of 12-year-old Claire, who has absolutely no interest in the paranormal or anything spooky. She is a scientist who believes that every question has a logical answer behind it, and it's definitely not because she might be a little bit scared of all those things that go bump in the night. But her family has other ideas about the paranormal. After all, her father makes his living running a ghost-themed bus tour in Chicago. But one night, when her father's assistant can't work, Claire ends up getting stuck helping her dad run his nightly ghost tour. And honestly, she would rather be anywhere else. But as the night goes by quickly and without a hitch, she thinks she might be okay. There was no real ghost after all. Well, that is until she sees a boy with a sad face and dark eyes sitting all alone in the back of the bus. Well, she doesn't think much of it at the time, but at the end of the night when she goes to check on him again, he's gone. And according to her dad, there were no kids on the tour that night. Well, Claire tries to brush this off. She must have been imagining things, letting her dad's ghost stories get the best of her. But then the scratching starts. Voices whisper to her in the dark, and the number 396 appears everywhere she turns. And the boy with the dark eyes starts following her. Claire is being haunted, and the boy from the bus wants something, and Claire needs to figure out what that is before it's too late. Well, this is a really spooky, chilling ghost story about a malevolent spirit and a very unlucky girl. And like I said, this is based off of a little bit of true Chicago history. So if you like a ghost story with a little bit of truth behind it, this one's definitely for you.
Noelle, No for short, wants to live in a house with a yard big enough for a dog. When she sees a house being sold on Totter Court with the perfect yard, she convinces her parents to take a look. They love the house. On the day they move in, the neighborhood kids, Crystal, Ruthie, and Radia, warn No to stay out of the basement at night. No, being curious, doesn't listen. She goes to the basement, and all she sees is the washer, dryer, water heater, and a large crack in the basement wall. Until something starts oozing out of that very crack. Then a flat body with a dreadful face starts to form. Was something really there, or was No having another of her night terrors? No screams. Her parents come running. But all they see is the crack. Why? No, wanting answers, goes to see Radia. What will Radia say? When No, Crystal, Ruthie, and Radia try to destroy the smashed man, they make everything worse. How will they ever defeat Smashed Man? If you enjoy scary stories and stories about monsters from parallel worlds, you're going to like Smashed Man of Dread End by J.W. Ocker.
Hi, it's Miss Bailey, and let's talk about The Thickety by J.A. White. The Thickety is the first book in a fantasy series, and while yes, this may not be horror exactly, trust me, this story is creepy enough to make it count. I was surprised by how terrifying some parts in this book actually were. There's a dark forbidden forest, vicious beasts, deadly plants, witches, an evil spell book. It's all there. And when Kara, the main character, was a child, her mother was convicted of witchcraft. Content warning, the prologue has the brutal explanation of just what exactly happened to her mom, so if you don't like gruesome scenes, this may not be the book for you. But years later, Kara and her little brother are still shunned by the people of their village, who believe that nothing is more evil than magic, except the mysterious forest that covers nearly the entire island, called the Thickety. The villagers live in fear of the Thickety, and there's these creatures that live in there that also scare them. But one day, Kara is drawn into the forest, and she discovers a strange book, a grimoire that might actually have belonged to her mother. And that's when she sets into motion events that are both inspiring and frightening. I couldn't put this book down. I couldn't believe the ending, and I really hope that you give it a try, and I hope you enjoy it.
Let me tell you about Be Wary of the Silent Woods from the Weirn books by graphic novelist Svetlana Chmakova. Svetlana Chmakova also is the graphic novelist of the popular books Awkward, Brave, and Crush. So Be Wary of the Silent Woods is set in the coastal New England town of Latham, which seems pretty typical for human day creatures. But there is also a night realm that shapeshifters, vampires, mermaids, and weirns inhabit. A weirn is a witch born with a demon guardian spirit or astral bound to them for life. Ailish is part of a weirn family. Right now her parents are away, so she lives with her gruff grandmother in an apartment above her magic shop. Ailish has a cousin her age named Naya and a younger cousin named Desh. Every night Ailish picks up Naya and Desh and they take a shortcut through the silent woods on their way to school. While looking for a spell book in Grandma's attic, Ailish and Naya stumble upon some old newspaper clippings about children disappearing from a school, and the headmistress was the #1 suspect. It turns out that Grandma went to that very school just for weirn children in the old mansion in the silent woods. Her twin brother went there too, and he went missing with the other children and were never found. Grandma warns the girls to stay away from the old mansion. On top of all this, a strange night creature keeps turning up, and one night, on the way home from school while walking through the silent woods near the abandoned mansion, it scares the pants off Ailish, Naya, and Desh. The next night at school, the girls' nemesis, Patricia, is acting strangely nice. Ailish and Naya know that something is not right. Back at Grandma's, the cousins try to get more information about the old school and headmistress. But while doing their research, Desh goes missing. Now the cousins and their friends must face the secrets of the old school in the silent woods. Will they be able to rescue Desh before it's too late? Graphic novelist Svetlana Chmakova has created a new magical realm with interesting and engaging characters with sharp-witted dialogue.
Hi everyone, this is Miss Bailey, and I want to talk about You Choose Books, their chilling interactive adventure series. This series is creepy. Seriously, if you can't handle being a little spooked, don't pick this up. This series is only for those that truly enjoy being creeped out. These books take actual places that exist and blend fact and fiction together into one crazy You Choose adventure story. There are even real pictures included that might just scare you a little. You can visit a haunted sanatorium, which is my favorite one, or go aboard the Queen Mary, which is a legendary ghost ship, walk around the mysterious Winchester House that's known to have staircases leading nowhere and some really sinister rooms, or even check in at the famously haunted Stanley Hotel. These are all real places. You can look it up. You decide what path to take while visiting these places. There are over 30 choices you can make. But will you survive?